So on the heels of all of that, on the heels of Ring of Honor perhaps being the developmental territory, Cassidy Haynes had another exclusive today. While asking around about the purchase of Ring of Honor, sources have also confirmed to me that the reports of Brandy and Cody Rhodes leaving AEW was very much real life and was not a work. Additionally, I was told that discussions had been ongoing between Cody and WWE, but I was told those conversations have since fizzled out. One source indicated that there is hope that Cody can be brought back into the AEW fold. The idea was floated to me that there might be a possibility again with a new role involving the Ring of Honor acquisition. Oh, Jesus! It is going to the discourse is going to be such shit, people. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Well, this is pro wrestling. Okay? It's a business where people lie. They lie all the time. That's the history of wrestling. In wrestling, you lie. It boggles my mind to think that this would happen. Cody Rhodes coming back. Now, if he does come back and Tony says, "Brother, Ring of Honor's yours. You drive it to whatever you want." It would be in line with a lot of reports that we heard that Cody wasn't necessarily unhappy with the money. That wasn't necessarily the money he wanted. He felt like he had lost a lot of his creative control, of his booking power, because Tony Khan basically took everything over as of January 2020. So Cody's like, Tony's like, well, Cody, look, I can give you this shiny new toy that I just bought. And it could be yours. And you can do whatever you want with it. You answer to me, but you're the booker. Maybe Cody's like, all right. Because if Cody went to WWE and wanted, oversight over his angles and bullshit like that, I don't care what Vince told Pat McAfee. It didn't happen. He didn't get it. So much for the night after WrestleMania. The Raw after WrestleMania. Which was my prediction, right? So essentially, yeah, exactly. Ring of Honor would be the Codyverse. That'd be it. So it makes sense that he'd be like, look, I've got Ring of Honor now. You have history there. You can do whatever you want. Maybe Cody comes back and he's like, okay, cool, And with this, the real life stuff that happened, everything that sort of occurred between Tony Khan and Cody and being unable to find terms on the contract and so on and so forth. Maybe Tony Khan is like, Cody's like, they could transform this into an angle where, Cody takes over Ring of Honor and makes it like the anti-AEW people, and it's like, we've been at the, AEW wouldn't be here without us and that kind of stuff. It could be. But there's going to be discourse over whether or not this was all Pillmanized, right? Where Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes put on this whole charade and that this was just like one big angle. Which, look, my spidey senses tingle when I hear this kind of stuff happen, but I want to keep an open mind. My spidey senses were tingling with Cody Rhodes being a free agent and stuff, and like, this is bullshit, but then he ended up leaving, right? Nope, he's done. He's toast. But then I'm like, this comes back around and maybe my instincts were good. Maybe this is just a big work. A a modern day Brian Pillman, Eric Bischoff thing, right? Just in case you're wondering what I'm talking about. But, and it's plausible because of the fact that Tony Khan is such a wrestling fan and that he marks out for this kind of, like, he understands wrestling fans. He understands wrestling. He understands the business. Why wouldn't he want to have his own Brian Pillman moment? My reasoning tells me none of this was a work. That this was all legitimate. Okay? This, that Cody and Tony couldn't come to an agreement and Tony didn't renew the contract, but maybe Tony Khan had it in his back pocket and is like, well, if this deal with Ring of Honor falls happens and I can go back to Cody and bring him back on board. That seems plausible. Of course, none of this is done. We're speculating here. We're having a little fun. If you don't speculate in wrestling, you're missing the point. You're missing out 60% of the fun of it. But let's say it's a work. Let's just say it is. Let's just take a minute here. It takes away a lot. It will erode a lot of trust for AEW because all of their announcements were made through official channels. They involved partners and partnerships, brought in people who probably weren't involved, such as appointing Amanda Huber to, the community outreach stuff, all of that. That erodes a lot of trust. But what's even worse is if it's a work and they worked the locker room. You never want to work the locker room because that creates a very untenable atmosphere in the background. Because then at that point, that creates suspicion, paranoia, mistrust. That develops an entirely different relationship with your talent because now your talent has something tangible to say, I don't know if I trust you, boss, Booker man. I don't know if you're going to pay me. I don't know if you're going to tell me to take a hike when I'm going to come and ask you for anything. You're going to promise me something and then you're going to fuck me over. Like if Tony, honest to God, if Tony Khan did this, it was to pop himself, and it's extremely ill-advised. Extremely ill-advised. Because when Bischoff and Pillman did it back in the early 90s, there was just, the ragtag newsletter readers that were aware of it. Now, everyone knows it's a work. There's websites open and just discussing this shit all the time. There's Twitter, there's message boards. Everyone knows. If this is a work, it is bad. Again, like I said, my brain tells me because of how they approached the departure of Cody and Brandy by talking about all the partners and so on and so forth, I feel like it's legitimate. And there might be some bridge mending with the ROH stuff. Maybe. But I promise you, if it's a work, I hope Tony got a good pop out of it because that's gonna do some irreparable damage.